And now, from the greatest city in the world, it's Late Night Thread with Talisha with tonight's guest, Anette Elbech, and a special musical performance from Aerosmith, featuring the Late Night Thread Top 10 list. I'm Doug Mandelbaum, and you're listening to Johnny Go and the Late Night Thread House Band. And now, here she is, your host, the sewist with the mostest, the queen of the sewing machine, Talisha Boxer!
Thank you. Hey everybody, welcome to Late Night Thread. I'm your host, Talisha Boxer. It is Saturday night. Are you guys ready for a great show? Well, I don't know if you guys follow the news. I feel like recently, whenever I've been looking at the news, I'm seeing some kind of sewing related story sneaking in. Even the celebrities have been getting involved. In a recent Rolling Stone magazine article, it was announced that Ed Sheeran's next tour is going to be sponsored by a major sewing machine brand. I know. His next tour is going to be sponsored by a major sewing machine brand, which makes it official. Ed Sheeran is now a singer-songwriter. Speaking of singer-songwriters, another singer-songwriter just broke the Guinness World Record for the fastest sewing of a man's suit. Guess that's why they call her Taylor Swift. In other news, a woman in South Dakota was rushed to the emergency room last night after she fell asleep without putting her sewing kit away. Don't worry guys, the family released a statement saying she's fine, she just woke up with pins and needles in her arms. Speaking of needles, I recently picked up some new tapestry needles to weave in my yarn ends when I'm knitting. I actually had a really funny experience the first time I tried to use them, but telling you a joke about a blunt needle is pointless. Okay, that wasn't great, but I do think you're going to like this next story. This is actually a really interesting one. So the Pope has recently lifted a 500-year ban on sewing in convents. So after 500 years, nuns are finally going to be allowed to sew. Critics oppose this, though, out of concerns that it could be habit-forming. And there has been some bad news in the film world. There are going to be delays on the release of the next Fast and Furious movie because of a feud on set. Vin Diesel had brought his kids in on Take Your Children to Work Day, and they snuck into Dwayne Johnson's trailer to borrow some crafting tools. The good news is that they did not touch his dressmaking shears, but the kids had lost the rocks, paper, scissors. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got such a great show for you tonight. We have got the newest sewing sensation, Annette Elbech, and Grammy Award-winning musical guest, Aerosmith. And after this break, we have got the Late Night Thread Top 10 list, so stick around. We'll be right back after these messages. Hey everybody, welcome back to Late Night Thread. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Late Night Thread Top 10 list. So I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I feel like sometimes I'm hanging out with my sewing friends, we're talking sewing, and somebody comes out with something that sounds absolutely filthy. But it's not. It's just sewing talk. That is the topic of tonight's Top 10 list. It is the top 10 sewing terms that sound dirty but really aren't. And here to present tonight's Top 10 list with me are some of my favorite YouTube sewing vloggers. So here we go, the top 10 sewing terms that sound dirty but really aren't. Number 10, Michelle from Michelle Sews Again.
Threading the needle.
Okay, and number 9, Sara from Naughty Gnome Crafts.
Hump jumper.
Number 8, Alisa from Sloths and Orchids.
Boning.
Number 7, Whitney from Tomcat Stitchery.
Dropping the feed dogs.
Number 6, Gwen from Gwen Hang.
Easy in the fabric.
Number 5, Shereé from Shereé Thomas.
Oiling your machine.
Number 4, Brie from Brie Michelle Made.
Photographing a flat lay.
Number 3, Talisha from Creativity by T.
The French curve.
Number 2, Kate from The Fold Line.
Taylor's sausage.
And the number 1 sewing term that sounds dirty but really isn't, Joanna from Joanna's Feeling Crafty.
Pocket flaps.
We are going to have to take a break, but stay tuned because after the break we have got Annette Elbech. We've got Aerosmith. Stick around. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's guest is new to sewing, but in the short time she's been doing it, she has been taking the sewing world by storm. Ladies and gentlemen, Annette Albeck! Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, Annette.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
So I want to get right into your progress with sewing. So how long have you actually been sewing?
I think for about a year and a half.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And what was it that made you decide to actually go ahead and sew?
Well, you, because yes, I think we were coming out of COVID lockdown, and you asked me if I wanted to go to this fair, fabric fair. And I was just excited to go out. And we went there and I just saw all this beautiful fabric and I kept asking you, would I be able to sew this from that, without no experience at all. But my excitement was 100%. So I was like, let me try it.
I think we actually have a picture here of your first sewing project. Are we? Yeah, so this is the first thing you sewed, which I think it looks like it went really well.
Yes, I when I look at the picture as well, I think it looks nice.
Have you had any trickier times when you've been sewing?
Well, I have, but I will also have to say I found out a lot about my own patience when I started sewing those pants as well. I was feeling really confident with the progress and everything, and then when I had to do the elastic band, my temper was not great because it's very nitty gritty and yeah, I definitely, a few swear words came out because my patience is just not great, but they looked really nice. And yeah, my second project, which was a pair of dungarees, I think.
Dungarees, yeah, the heyday dungarees, yeah.
That was very challenging. I sewed it all, and then when I tried them on, my crotch did not look good. It did not. It looked like I had something in my pants that I shouldn't have. And me being so new to sewing, I had no clue how to fix it. So I watched one YouTube video after the other, tried to fix it. And
how does the crotch look now?
It looks great.
Beautiful.
Well, I think it looks better. And actually, the best person to ask is my grandma. She will tell me the truth. Like, when I thought I'd fix them, I did like a FaceTime video call with her. And I was very proudly showing her these dungarees that I'd made. And she was like, oh, no, you can't wear that. That doesn't look good. And I was like, okay, over again. Let's try again. And now what I've ended up with, she approves.
If she approves, you know you're in the clear.
Exactly.
Perfect. What are you working on right now?
Right now I'm working on the Marlowe sweater.
Oh, by True Bias.
Yes.
I think you've got a clip of that. Did you bring a clip with you today to show us through something about the process?
Which clip
So
are we talking about?
So I think you're looking maybe at the instructions.
Oh, yes. You want me to give an introduction to that?
Just set it up for us.
So, so sometimes all the time, of course, I have to read the instructions and I don't always understand it. So sometimes I relax whilst I read it with whatever beverage may be available. And I think that's what this clip will show.
Great, okay, let's have a look at that clip.
Step 1. Before starting, make sure you've transferred all notches from your pattern pieces. I do think I've cut all of them. Transferred? Does that mean cut?
Well, we definitely all look forward to seeing how that project turns out.
Thank you. I will keep you updated.
Thank you so much again for coming on the show tonight, Annette. It's been such a pleasure.
Well, thank you, Theresa.
We are going to have to cut to a break now, but make sure that you do come back because after the break we have got Aerosmith. Welcome back, everybody. Our next guest is here to perform their hit single, Love in an Elevator. Ladies and gentlemen, Aerosmith. Sorry, I've just gotten word that tonight's show is run long, so that is all the time we got for tonight. Good night, everybody! April Fools! I am definitely not changing the format of my channel. I am not going to be making those kinds of videos, but I had so much fun putting together that video for you guys today. I really hope that you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. I have to give an extra special thank you to the sewing vloggers who trusted me with my crazy idea and sent me video clips of them saying sewing terms to use for my top 10 list. Thank you so much to Joanna, Kate, Talisha, Bree, Shereé, Gwen, Whitney, Alisa, Sara, and Michelle. You all absolutely nailed the brief. Honestly, it was just so much fun to be able to put your clips together. It was a highlight of the video for me, for sure. If you guys are not already familiar with these sewing vloggers, if you spotted any unfamiliar faces, you definitely need to check them out because they are all definitely up there as some of my favorites. I will put links down below to their channels, of course, in the description box. But honestly, guys, you're the best. I also need to give a big thank you to my friend Annette, who did not hesitate when I asked her if she wanted to do this video with me. You were so perfect for the interview. I could not have picked a better person. We had so much fun and so many laughs making the video. I also need to thank my husband Phil because he honestly did probably about half of all the behind the scenes stuff. We had a lot of fun making the video, planning it. It's been in my mind for well over a year, and I'm so glad that I finally got to share it with you guys. I hope it made you laugh. If it did, please do share it with somebody else, especially today. I want as many people to see this video today as possible because that is kind of the whole point. If you did like the video, please do give me a like. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel if you want to see genuine sewing content. This is not my typical video, I promise. But I hope to see you all again very soon. Bye!
Boning. Stop it.
Taylor's sausage.
For kids, perhaps? Here comes my straight face.
Thank you again for coming on the show. We're going to have to get to a break, but after the break, make sure you come back because we've got Aerosmith.
Oh, nice! The wave to the camera, that was excellent.
High five. High five. All right.